Hello and welcome to another wobbly camera guy video. Today's video we're going to be looking at this Selga 7 transistor radio from Russia from around about 1965. As you can see, it's quite a compact transistor radio. Great colours, to be honest. Love the gold finish and the almost like a greeny sort of grey combination with the cream at the back. This is again another radio I've had in my garage for years and years and years, and what I've done, I've just literally popped a battery on to see if it works, and it's trying to work. Unfortunately it's not having much luck. If I put it on, as you can hear, lots of static. I just can't quite do it, so I'm going to have a quick look and see if I can actually sort of fix this. There's no model number on this, but I think it is virtually the same as a Selga 402, and I happen to have one of those here. This is another one, getting quite a collection of these. This is one that I haven't touched at all. If I can get it out of its leather case, you can have a look and see what you think. Okay, this is RRR, and RRR, if I can get it pronounced correctly, is Regas Radio Rupnica, which I believe were in Latvia, and they actually ceased trading, I think, in around about the year sort of 2000, but I believe that this model went from early 1960s to around about 1979. And as you can see, you've got the tuning and the volume in the same positions. You've got the medium wave and long wave switch in the same positions, the battery compartment cover, the aerial, and also the earphone. So I'm pretty sure that these are related. This one I think is around 1972. This I think around about 1965-ish. If you know about it, please by all means give me some updates on the comments and things. Some of this stuff I've tried researching on the internet. There's very little information actually on this one. This one seems a little bit more sort of information, but again, even if you can see the way they've done the medium wave and long wave sort of banding there in the frequencies, you're going 16 to 0.52. It's very much the same sort of style of letters, etc. So I'm pretty confident that this might be a bit more of an upmarket model of the Selga 402. So I'm going to pop that to one side. I'm going to open this up and see what we can do. See if we can actually get this little girl up and running. Okay, so normally it'd be a screw to undo, but we don't have a screw in this case, so that makes life a little easier. Just need to slide the cover off, take out the old PP3. That was quite loose actually, taking that out, so that might be part of our problem, but I don't think so. Simple cover. It just actually locates on 3 little pegs, and then it's just one screw to actually locate, so quite clever really. What we have, and I'm happy you can see this because I can't always see my camera, is these little top hat germanium transistors, 7 in this case, as you can see there. Those 2 I think are the output transistors that are actually driving the output transform, the output transformer I think that then drives the laser or speaker. I haven't even got a circuit diagram for this, so again it's pure sort of guesswork. As you can see, the long wave and medium wave switch, it's quite a crude affair, but it kind of works. But what I'm going to do is just take this out, spray some contact cleaner on it, just see if that makes any difference. Just going to look at sort of the low-hanging fruit, as it were, first, before we're going even more sort of depth, see if we can try and get something out. I might not be able to make it work, but I thought you might enjoy just seeing what kind of progress we can actually sort of make with this. So I'm going to get some contact cleaner and see if we can actually sort of make some progress. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is just take off the little red slidey part and take it literally. Oh, good grief. Don't you just love it? Now that's going to be fun. I've now got to try and work out which switch goes in where to actually make this little baby work. So give me 5, give me 10, and see if I can actually work it out. Well, I'm back after winning the Idiot of the Week award. I've actually popped these back, and it wasn't quite so bad as what it actually sort of looked. the actual little contact strips, they just hook up into the little PC board sort of style material sort of there, and there's nothing actually throwing them in, so when you take them out they are literally just going to sort of fly out, as I found to my cost. But luck of luck, I actually managed to find a photograph of a very similar one, which gives you a good indication as to where they're located. So bit of luck off the internet, I've actually sort of popped it back on. It literally just sits in there, there's nothing else sort of locating it. But what I am going to do is put a tiny little bit of switch cleaner on and just see if this actually makes that little bit of difference. So wish me luck. I don't want to flood it, I literally just want to just put a little bit in, and it's actually on both sides. It's quite a clever little switch. So I'm just going to move that a couple of times without pulling it apart, and let's just see if that's actually made any difference. I'm just going to pop a battery onto it. Some of these joints look a bit dry, but for test purposes they'll do. So let's see if we've got anything on it.
Yeah, superb innings.
Would you believe it?
Really begrudge
It was the switch.
With a thick outside edge. Oh, it's placement.
Have we got anything on medium wave?
Right, let's get to the racing. City
of
York Stakes with John.
Switch that off.
Thank you very much. 7 furlongs and
Volume's a bit not 100% sort of happy, but there we go. That was a good success, although it started off a little bit disastrously. It actually worked out pretty well in the end, didn't it? I wish it was all like that. Life would be a lot easier, wouldn't it? So what I'm going to do now is see if I can try and squirt a little bit of switch cleaner onto the volume switch. I'm going to assemble it, and like all my radios, because they've been sitting on the garage for ages, I'm going to get it cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll see what we can do and see how she actually sort of performs as a bit of a final sort of review. So catch you in a moment. Okay, so to get this little pot, I'm going to take the board out, and from what I can tell we've got threaded pillar and 1, 2 screws. So let's just see how easy this is, and I hope it doesn't fly apart like the switch did. So let's just go under this pillar. It's quite loose, so I think somebody else has been here before, but I'm not complaining. Oh, this is in view. Is that? I have to do this all the way through, aren't I? Fortunately. Let's watch if I'm not the little transistors. Yeah, it's going to be the hard way. Bear with me. Almost there. Bit of patience sometimes. It's going to be fun getting that back in, but hey ho. I really don't want to knock that transistor if I can avoid it. Okay, so we'll pop into one side. Hopefully the transistors, the screws will be a little bit easier, so just see if I can unscrew. Now I'm just going to pop this down face down. I'm hoping that's still visible to you. I haven't got magnetic screwdriver, which is not the best in the world. So let me try this rusty one, which looks like has been popped in by somebody else just as a temporary fix, but let's see what we can do without losing the screws. In fact, if they were undone, it might. No, I'm going to have to take them all the way out. I'll tell you what, the ladies who assembled these, they must have really nimble fingers, because these are quite awkward sometimes. So, okay, let me see if I can catch the screws. Now, is it going to come out? Come on, you know you want to. Ah, no I can't, can I? Simple reason is, silly me, there's a little capacitor going to an external aerial there, and I need to disassemble that, so I don't really want to get the soldering on it. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to see if I can actually just try and get access just with a squirty little bit of switch cleaner just on that pot and see if that's enough. Okay, that should do. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop these little awkward screws back in, we'll pop the back cover on, and then we'll give her a bit of a clean and see how she plays. Okay, so put those little awkward screws back in. I'm going to put the back cover on, but before I do, I'm just going to tighten up the battery connector because it was not gripping the terminal very well. So just a little bit there. So pop this back on. Go through. I do put, if you can see there, a little slot just for the battery cables to come through, so it's quite a well thought out radio, to be honest. I've got 3 or 4 Russian radios, and I have to say that they are all well built radios. They didn't skimp on design or sort of the content really. They always do pull in very good stations. So anyway, let's pop the battery in. Oh, that's not incorrect. I'm going to have to get a screw for that. Oh, she's still alright, so let me just switch that off and pop the battery cover back in. Pop it in the correct way. Okay, as I say, she's a bit grubby. She's been in the garage a little while, so I'm just going to treat her to a little bit of valve cleaner, a bit of car dash polish, and see if we can go looking like somebody actually owns us. So I'm not going to put too much on, but just get rid of some of the grubby stuff, especially on the thumb wheels. Get some of it off anyway. It's a bit stubborn, but okay. Let's get a bit more on the back. Let's use a cloth, an old t-shirt. Get through some of these stains. It is a bit grubby, but I'm going to do it better than this. But I just wanted just to see how she would actually look. You can see the amount of dirt that comes on. As I say, this has been in my garage for some time, so I'm not surprised they're grubby. I'm determined to get those out. Tell you what, I'll put some cleaner onto the toothbrush. That doesn't go everywhere into the controls, and just see. Get that out. Not all of it. No, it's stubborn. Okay, I'll do that another time. It's not desperate. As I say, they actually do come with external aerial sockets, so I see the size of the Russia, there must have been areas on it that hadn't got such a strong signal, so I'll probably put a big wire aerial up outside, hook this up and see if they can pull in their favourite Soviet stations of the day. It's very pretty, I have to say that for a radio, especially Russian. They tend to be a little bit utilitarian sometimes, but this one's quite pretty. I'll try a little bit of dashboard cleaner, which I've actually used before. If you've seen any of my other videos, I've done 2 more on Russian radios. I've got one on a Vega radio and one on an early 1970s one whose name I cannot pronounce. But please feel free, have a look, see what you think. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, tell me where I'm going right, where I'm going wrong. I'm starting to grow this channel as much as I can, but I'm learning, like we all do. So there we go. Again, still pulling some dirt off. You just see it'll polish up a little bit. It obviously needs a lot more time doing on it. I just wanted just to see it should just clean up a little bit for us today. And there we go. Pop the cleaner out the way. So.
Scrum drives, Blues hold steady at that scrum though, and Thomas Williams comes away with it.
The man will be absolutely delighted because, as we've seen,
it actually pulls in the stations pretty well, considering it's a seven transistor radio. Cannot speak today. Let's try on long ways.
Of those points, Oisin Connolly rode in with 2 from play. Alex Conn.
That's actually pretty good because I'm picking up some foreign stations on wave and radio air as well in Ireland, which the one radios don't always pull in, so that's pretty good actually. Anyway, so let's switch that off. Incidentally, on that 402, this would have come with a leather case, and the 402 did. And just to show you why I think they're all from the same stable. Oh, it's rather grubby, but rather strong leather case. You can see it actually fits perfectly, both the controls, the waveband selector switch, the aerial and the earband socket, so I'm pretty sure they're just variations on a theme. But interesting anyway, just to see if we can actually sort of prove that point. So there you have it, 7 transistor Selga radio. I think we're around about 1965, something like that. As I say, if you let me know if you know better than me. I couldn't find an awful lot on the internet at all on this particular one, but to go with that, I've got my Vega radio, which I've already done a video on, so please check out my channel and see what you think of that one. There is this one whose name I cannot pronounce, so forgive me on that one. I've done a video on that one. And then this one, I am going to do a video on this one soon. It partially works. Again, it may be the same problem as this one in terms of its actual sort of waveband switch issues. So leave them there for you. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.